a tough one, you know. I think, you know, obviously ASU came out ready to play, and you know, we didn't execute when we needed to. As a, you know, overall a solid season. I have a lady next to me that has done a lot for our program and worked her tail off and really led us this year, and it sucks. Like, there's nothing, you know, no easy way to say it. We're gonna get over this hump.
Any questions for Kennedy? We'll go to Cease in the front row.
Yeah, Kennedy, slow start. I know you didn't plan a slow start, but is there anything different about this game because they jumped right on you? Anything different feel about this game, or what about the slow start?
Nothing necessarily. We just kind of wanted to find our groove, I think, and they capitalized on some runners in scoring positions and stuff like that, but not necessarily, I don't think, a slow start, just kind of trying to find our groove. We played 2 tough games yesterday, and came back here early, so just trying to get back into it was our main goal.
We'll stay on that front row in the middle to Kay.
KP, can you put into words what your time at Texas A&M has meant?
Yeah, it's meant a lot. I mean, it was just great to come back home and get to play in front of the 12th man. I just want to thank these coaches, you know, for bringing me back home and just letting me be me. I think that was one of the main things that I was looking for, and so it was just great to be here and great to have the support of the 12th man and the coaches, for sure.
We'll go back to TV row on the left side.
Kennedy, walking off the field today, looking back at just today and this weekend in general, what is your proudest moment about being a part of this program, being an Aggie?
I mean, so many, but I just think the way that I fight every time I'm on the field. I'm always competing, and that's just something I wanted to leave behind and kind of just instill in my teammates coming behind me. So I think, you know, just the way I compete every day. At practice, in the games, and just I think that's the main thing for me that I wanted to leave here.
Anything else for Kennedy? We'll go back to Cease.
Kennedy, you played for 3 great teams with a lot of success. Was there anything different about this team? What might you remember most about this team?
I mean, there's something I remember from every team I've played on. This one in particular, just the way we were so close and the way, you know, we had fun with each other on and off the field. I think that's going to stick with us forever, even though we won't be playing together as a unit anymore. But that was, I mean, just how close-knit we were and how much fun we had off the field, I think, was the main thing. And we translated that onto the field.
We'll go one more on the far side of TV row.
KP, I'm just wondering, as you now sort of put the college career behind you, just what are the couple things that you do hope that when you watch A&M next year, the things that you pass down to them that you hope to most see?
Yeah, I mean, kind of what I said earlier, we'll always compete. I mean, Coach Ford is our coach. He's always competing, so that's non-negotiable for us. But just kind of, she said earlier, the adversity we went through, and so learning and growing from that adversity, because we were a young team this year, so I just hope to continue to see them grow and get better. Grow with the game. I think that's the main thing for sure.
All right, it looks like that's all we have for you.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
Great career.
Thank you, guys.
Who would like to start us with questions for Coach? We'll go to Cease in the front row.
Yeah, just the fact they jump on you right off the bat. I know you always talk about coming out. It seemed like you were almost down 5-1 before the game even started. Any vibe of how that came about?
Yeah, I thought Peters gave us everything she had in the circle. I mean, she pitched really good yesterday, and I rolled her back out there today. You know, Kate came in. I don't know that I've seen a second inning like that before. I mean, she did what she was supposed to do, and just the ball found the dirt a lot. And she came out and executed her pitches. And so sometimes that's how it goes. And so we just got to keep working.
We'll go to the right side of TV row.
As you guys were starting to see ASU's offense pick up, what were you saying to your team in the dugout as that was happening?
Yeah, just chip away. That's something that I think we've done a really good job all year of, when things get a little sideways, they've been able to, put a couple runs up and then put a couple more runs up. And so that was just our message is like chip away and just pass the bat, have good at-bats. I think, you look at our, Kelsey Mathis and, Paisley, there's some really big hits, and they were just moving that lineup over to get it back up top to, KP and Maya and Talon and Wark. So it's just keep rolling.
We'll
Coach,
go to the left side of TV row and then that second row.
Coach, it's kind of hard to walk away from a game like this as a player and not feel like you could have done more. What are you saying to these girls to make them feel proud about what they've put in this season?
Well, I think, you have to, it's hard right now. I think, emotions are high. But I think, when you look at our season overall, there's a lot of things that this team accomplished. I'm sure Tyler has all the stats, but, Maya Perez being on base, the longest, Division I player. I think we tied our SEC conference wins. I think that there is a lot, and like KP said, and we've been talking about all year, of just how cohesive this group was and how much they enjoyed playing with each other. So I think, there's a lot of good things for us to build on. And we were really a team of seniors and sophomores. And so there's a lot of, upswing, I think, here of getting that experience under their belt.
We'll take two from the right side of the second row.
Zoe Collins-Rath, also an American Statesman. Coach Ford, you mentioned earlier in the season that you may have relied on Emily Kennedy a little bit too much for the postseason. Can you talk about the growth of your bullpen for this regional and how they've grown and evolved and how they were sort of prepared and how you sort of thought about the rotation?
Yeah, I think, Kate Munnerlin, Sydney Peters, and Sydney Lessentine, they've had really, really good moments, and I think we all saw it this year. And for the most part, they're all sophomores. Sydney's technically a junior, but from a playing standpoint, this was her first real full season of playing. And so I think we just have to get consistent, and that's my biggest message to them is we have moments of brilliance and then moments where, we leave the ball where it shouldn't be. And so I just think we need to, keep working through that. And, we were talking, earlier in the year, earlier in this week too, like if you look across the country, there's plenty of top level pitchers that are kind of going through it. And it's those that persevere and get through it that are the ones that end up on top.
We'll go to Texas and then the battalion.
Kayla Gaither, Texags. Coach, what's your message to the 12th man just after a loss like this? What's your message for the program moving forward for our fans?
Yeah, I think, first of all, thank you for showing up. Thank you for making Davis Diamond an electric place. And, stick with us. I think that's we're building something. I can see what's coming in the horizon. We have to make some adjustments. And, I think there's a lot of good softball that's been played at Davis Diamond the last couple of years. And we just have to elevate it at the end of the year.
I know it's hard to kind of look back right now, but when you look at this individual group of players, what's kind of going to be your lasting memory of this team?
Yeah, just their cohesiveness. I think, KP really stepped up this year and took the lead. We had the basically seniors and the sophomores, and it was a bridge to fill, and I thought they bridged that gap really well. And so I think it has a lot to do with our upperclassmen. You think of our Talons and Michaela and, Maya and KP. I think they really helped in bridging that gap.
Go to the right side of TV row and then back to the second row.
Trisha, you talked about whether it was after last year's regional or the South Carolina series or Auburn, that sometimes things just get really hard really fast. Obviously, that was the same thing in this regional. Just what were the things you feel like you could have done to maybe push through? And I know it's hard because sometimes things just don't go your way.
Yeah, I think we just have to keep working in the circle. I think, we just have to just have some confidence in there. And I think, we keep battling. It's nothing that's crazy that I feel like we're doing wrong. Again, I go back to that second inning today, just nothing kind of went our way. So you have to make sometimes your own path and your own momentum. And so I think just continuing to learn from that.
We'll go to the states. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Just look at this group. A lot of young players. You said senior, sophomore. Just how much do you think the solution of getting past this round is already on this roster for next year?
Yeah, I do. I think we have a lot of pieces returning. We have a strong freshman incoming class that's going to be good, and we'll be, active, this summer, in the portal. So I think we always figure it out. We always, come and we'll get competitive, and I know that we'll compete our tails off like we did this year.
We'll go to Statesman and then KA&M.
Zoe Collins-Rath, also American Statesman. It's no secret that the SEC is one of the hardest softball conferences to play in. What is it about the regional round that just is a little bit harder, and how do you get over that hump?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to execute at a higher level. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I think, we've been through it. We've played everybody. We just have to, at the end, really come together and play our best game, our best ball. And so, we just you gotta keep fighting. Like, sometimes the really hard stuff sucks, and then on the horizon is the really good stuff. And so that's my message, is just stick with us. Same with our team. Like, we know what we are building. We know, and sometimes it sucks, but everything that's worth doing, you go through this, and it hurts. And so you got to use it to motivate you.
We'll go to the right side of TV row to Aaron.
Going off Nick a little bit, I'm curious if there was any decision making, or what was the decision to maybe not have Maddie Sowney pinch hit when she's been so successful in that role?
Yeah, I think I'd have to, Coach Harger and I talk a little bit about, but I just don't think the situation kind of came up. I think Paisley had some good at-bats, and Frankie, and those are kind of the two that she typically hits for. I thought she had a great at-bat yesterday, and so she'll be somebody that we look forward to. There's an important piece for us moving forward, of making sure that she kind of builds on this year. She had a tremendous year this year, and hopefully have that bat consistently in our lineup next year. Yeah.
You touched on her just a little bit now, and you also said, I think it was yesterday, that she really is the glue to this team.
Yeah.
Why is it so important to have a player like that on your team moving forward?
Yeah, she's just the tone setter. She, every day when she comes out to practice, when she comes out to games, she's excited to be there. She's like a kid, playing the game. And when you're having a hard day, to have somebody like that, it just kind of lifts you up. And so, you see the team, when she's up to bat, when she gets a hit, they're really, really excited for her, because Maddie gives everything she has to her team, and she's just always been that way. And so when you get players like that who are playing for each other, I think, just good things happen. I think, the softball gods know with her. Yeah.
Coach, talking about this team, you said it's a team mostly of sophomores and seniors. Now losing these seniors, what does that mean for you guys moving forward, and what kind of loss is that going to be for the team next season?
Yeah, I mean, I think the sophomores has had a whole year to kind of figure out and, hopefully lead and help us. And, I think you have Maya coming back as a senior, and so you have Sydney Peters coming back as a senior. And so you're going to have some pieces that have been through it that I think, will help bridge that gap. And, again, I think our sophomores, learned a lot, and they're going to be juniors next year. So that'll be good.
Madison with KCN, a pretty emotional huddle after the game. What were some of the words and messages that were said throughout the group?
Yeah, I think from the team, they were just really thankful for each other and thankful for everything that people put into this season. I told them, I'm like, there's nothing that I'm going to say that's going to make this feel better. That's hard. Like, that's what you guys just did is hard, and it stinks. And there's no really words right then. It was just really spending some time with each other, thanking each other. And then I, just told him, I'm like, hey, we got to get back to work. Like, that's the thing. Like, we're going to get over this hump. I know we're going to get over this hump, and we just have to keep working.